Hey, I'm NichBoy and welcome to Pocket, and today I'm checking out Fragments of Him by SassyBot. Now, Fragments of Him is one of dem sad games like That Dragon Cancer. It's a narrative, storytelling, walk 'em up sort of experience that deals with death and loss. So let's jump in and ruin everyone's Friday. Okay. This is already a very sad living room. Maybe all the color died when the person did. Oh. I'm guessing that's the dead person? Now I'm the dead person? Okay. I love you, have a good day. Bye, Harry, see you tonight. Say nothing. Always say I love you. Even to people you don't know. Never leave without letting someone know that you love them. Pete, I love you, just in case I don't get a chance later.
It's easy to forget to appreciate the small things. I think I've done that too much.
Right. I'm confused as to who I am. Is that me and I'm looking at myself in an out-of-body experience?
I should have looked at this view more. I'll do that from now on.
Who's this? I don't know, but she's missing a lot of textures. Take the stairs? Let's take the stairs.
The stairs are better for me.
Yeah.
It gives me time to think.
This already feels like a Davy Reardon game.
Little bits of exercise are better than an occasional hour. I feel like I've had my eyes half closed for so long.
This guy's having a lot of deep thoughts walking down the stairs.
We'll never make it otherwise.
I'm usually just trying to not trip.
I'm going to tell him how I feel.
This is a very interesting gameplay mechanic. Activating these memories as a spirit person. You're not actually, you need to actively activate it. You don't just walk past something and it happens.
It feels like I drifted into these routines.
Check your mirrors. Looking good. This is every step of this man's life.
Other routines are just how we fill our days.
Pedal? No, handbrake, of course. Now foot. We're good. We're good. It's nice to see, we're driving on the Australian side. Or the British side, but we're gonna say the Australian side.
It was easy to get lazy, to let things fall slowly into a dull routine.
Okay, so far we're talking about a relationship. About the idea that you can just get into routine, not appreciate things and people around you. Am I about to die in a car crash?
I've let myself lose track of what I want, after everything we've been through.
Tension.
I don't want to lose him.
Feels like the kind of line that would have then been right before a crash. Well, I don't want to lose me. Crash!
I love that cafe. On warm evenings, sometimes I sit there with a glass of wine, waiting to catch Harry on his way back from work.
Okay, maybe stop thinking about how you like hanging out with your boyfriend and start thinking about where you're driving. So paranoid right now.
Maybe we'll go feed the ducks this weekend. I love the way they walk.
We're good. We're good. We're good. We're good. We're good.
I didn't expect it, but I feel happy I've made this choice.
Does that car look like it has more color than the rest of them? Or is it just because it's white? It's gone now, so I'm sure it's not important. You. No! What even happened? Where did that car come from?
Patterns.
I live!
Every day, the same start. Harry never wakes up from my alarm.
Because you're both in the world's smallest bed. Cup of Joe. Cold Joe, I assume.
A routine is good, to a point. I used to love this efficiency, but I feel trapped by it now.
Look, I'm just gonna be honest. You have decorated this place terribly. What is even on this desk? This is not a functional desk.
I reread the same books time and again. It's comforting, I guess.
That's your problem.
I think I'll wear this one. It's Harry's favorite t-shirt on me.
Spice it up. I hear you.
Why have I just passed by this for so long? It's beautiful.
So, I'm guessing I'm dead, and Harry, I'm just existing in my life without Harry because I'm a spirit or something. He's alive, and this is me sort of reflecting on the fact that these are all the things that I never appreciated.
These daily things, they're good, but weigh us down too. I've got to a good place in life, but I feel like I'm not taking it further. I feel like I should try to break patterns. I usually use the bathroom first.
I'll pee in the kitchen!
Every change helps.
Oh my god, where does the pee go? There's no drain.
A man takes the lead, Grandma would tell me. I guess I need to step up to the line. I've got a great thing here.
He's experiencing ennui.
I should ask Harry to marry me. I doubt that was what she meant about taking the lead. Marriage.
Also because Grandma was a famous homophobe. But it was a different time back then. Go to the bathroom then, I guess? Because that's not what we did in the first place? Nope. Where's the bathroom? Oh, here. What's this?
I think maybe Grandma would be okay with it these days. Then again, maybe she wouldn't.
You don't listen to your Grandma. She's from a different era. She still washes Glad wrap and hangs it on the line to reuse it. We don't understand what it was like during the Depression. It's a true story about my grandmother, by the way. She's a lovely woman. But good Lord, can she make that cling wrap go far?
Naturally, as Will's grandmother, I knew Will since the first day he was born, of course. I will never forget that first moment in the hospital, when James, that's Will's father, handed me my grandson for the first time. He wriggled in his blue blanket, already a strong boy. James liked that punk thing in the 1980s and looked a terrible mess to me. He ran 3 pubs in London for those sort of people. I would go over to babysit as often as I could. A child needs someone normal in their life.
Hey, buddy.
Sharon had some problems with the birth, so Will was an only child growing up. He played by himself a lot.
I see what they're doing, where they're talking about like the dad was a punk rocker and stuff, but it's a very strange scene right now. Just a kid slowly pushing a toy back and forth on the carpet, and the grandmother is just sitting staring ahead while heavy punk rock music plays in the corner. Let's turn it off.
James and Sharon both loved so-called music, and there was always something playing around Will. I thought it was an awful racket, personally, but there's no accounting for tastes.
I feel like we found the source of all the emotional problems here. It's Grandma. And all your passive-aggressive judgments.
Will's mother is an American, Sharon. They met through James's pubs. She took Will away to America for 3 years when she and James split up. They got back together again, though. James had horror books in the house, and I'm so glad they were kept on a high shelf away from Will.
You are poison, woman.
I just don't understand what pleasure there is in that kind of story. I loved Will. I always just wanted him to have the best possible start and to be successful. I suppose I sound awful, saying his parents were doing everything wrong.
A little self-awareness wouldn't have killed you.
I remember an evening where Will was quieter than usual. At first I thought he was ill. He told me that he'd been in a fight. It started because a boy had been picking on a girl, calling her names because of her dark skin. Will told the boy to stop. and he was punched in the stomach. I asked him if he had cried, and he said yes. I told him that big boys don't cry. I remember him asking me then, what do big boys do when they're sad?
Oh, I'm trying so hard not to just judge this fictional woman.
I suppose I didn't answer his question. I told him that he would be a good man when he was grown up and be able to stand up for himself. Even though he was hurt, I told him he was right to try to stop the bully.
Look how bored this kid is. Look at them both just staring at it. So it's come to this. Home with the racist, homophobic grandma.
Now I think about it, I don't think he was very comforted.
You shrew.
Will tripped over his toy van when he was going to bed. I remember carrying him. He was trying so hard not to cry.
Because you guilted him before about crying.
He was so small in my arms. I've never forgotten that feeling. I have so many little memories making up our lives together. It's odd what sticks with you, though. I took him to bed to read him a story. He liked ghost stories, but I thought he was too young for them. He would get very scared after the light was out. Sharon kept on buying him more, though. I made sure he could see me looking carefully.
Yeah, it's sweet. Oh, is there light? There's light behind there, but we can't see it.
I always had to check the room for ghosts before he would settle down.
But that's the thing about ghosts, right? They can just come through the wall. Monsters, that's something else, because they need to be in the room in the first place, whereas ghosts, they can float in through anywhere.
I was reading Grimm's fairy tales to him. I liked those much more than the new versions that they kept on coming out with back then. That night was a strange story called The Ungrateful Son.
Feels appropriately passag.
I'll tell it to you, it's only short. Once upon a time, a man and his wife were eating a roast chicken for dinner, when the man saw his father, a very old man, walking along the road towards them. The man didn't want to share his chicken, so he hid it out of sight. His father came, bid them a good day, and went on his way.
Under the table chicken.
The man was very happy, and so told his wife to put the chicken on the table again. But the chicken had transformed into a giant toad, which leapt onto the face of the man. The toad wouldn't leave his face, and hissed at the wife when she came near, so she didn't dare approach to help. The man had to feed the toad every day from then on,
Oh, wow.
or it would bite his face. And he never rested for the remainder of his life.
And you have a problem with horror stories, but grim fairy tales, they're worse than horror stories.
That was a very strange story.
Just like poke it off with a broom or something. Sharpen a broom. Pokey pokey. Toad explodey. The end.
Will was asleep before I finished it, which was probably a good thing.
That is very adorable wallpaper. Do people do that anymore? Do people wallpaper rooms just for their kids? Or is it all just decals now? Washable whiteboard walls. I love the idea of wallpapering a wall for a child's bedroom because you're going, this is the kid's bedroom. At no point is the kid gonna be moved out and grandma comes and stays in here. It's like your own space. Good night. Oh, that was gonna be a really poignant moment, but I realized there's also a desk lamp. Oh shit, there's a bunch of them.
I felt strange after reading it. I wondered about whether I really could keep him safe.
Nope, you can just prepare him as best as you can. Oh, that's the nightlight. That stays on. Really ruined my moment, Grandma. It was all gonna be like, good night. We're gonna leave it there. But instead it was good night. Oh shit. Light bulb, light bulb. unturn-offable.
I didn't know where life was going to take him. I was his grandmother, and I hoped I would help him be a good man.
I shouldn't laugh because it's sweet, but that was the creepiest thing I've seen.
I could still see him sleeping there now, like it was only yesterday. I'd raised James, so I thought I would be ready for anything from my grandson Will. But I wasn't daft enough to think that it would be easy. I knew something had been broken that day between Will and I. I took a deep breath and pulled myself together. It simply doesn't do to let others see you get upset.
All right, so it looks like we're sticking with Grandma and her little passag digs at Will's life choices for a while. We're gonna leave it there. Okay, so that is Fragments of Him. And I'm enjoying this, but I will just start with a thing that I feel like all of these games suffer from, and this one isn't any different, where what they're trying to do here, they're trying to tell a story, right? And most of the time we see these stories in film. And in film, what you have is the advantage of editing, that you can choose exactly what moments you want the viewer to see, and you can cut out all the bits that aren't important. Whereas here, because you're letting a scene play out in pretty much real time, then you're watching all the moments that are just busy work. So her reaching across and picking up a book to read to the boy at the bedside table, I have to click on the book and that starts her animation to go pick it up. Ideally, I would love it if she's talking about the last thing that she was talking about, I can click on the book and the game lines that up so that she then reaches, picks up the book while she's finishing the sentence, opens it up, and then starts the next thing. Because this dead air between each click really highlights the fact that it's all segmented. And that every time something is just in its own little segment, then it often fails to sort of build together as a whole. And then you put on top of that that each line reading it's not her telling this one story. She's actually just doing these individual line readings, the actress. And the cadence is the same every time. And the same goes for Will. The cadence of every sentence he had was the same sort of like, I wish I thought more about taking the stairs. A bit of exercise every day, that'll do me. This is the favorite shirt that Harry had for me. Like, every single line is said the same way. So therefore, they're all poignant and meaningful and metaphorical. So therefore, really none of them are because they're all exactly the same. But it is dealing with a topic that you just don't really see dealt with in video games. This is a game about the death of a gay man, and it's himself and his family examining his life and trying to put together what kind of a man he was. That's not the synopsis for something by Activision. This is a unique sort of story, and I really admire the fact that they've chosen game as a medium to tell it. Is it the greatest medium to tell that? Possibly not, because it's not actually as interactive, and you lose things by not having characters with eyes, then you lose emotion. So you just sort of, I acknowledge that it's affecting, but it's not necessarily actually affecting me. I intellectually know that it's affecting though. But I do really admire the fact that this is a game that exists right now. Also, the art style, rather drab, but there's a reason for it. It's thematically drab, so I kind of like it. I like that hopefully at some point, as we start to build more of an understanding about this man, then maybe more light and color comes in as his life starts coming together. Or maybe not. Maybe it is about how we never really become who we want to become, and particularly who others want us to be as well. All right, that's it for today's episode of Pocket My Pocketeers. NichBoy out.